Welcome back. World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, observed annually on July 30th, shines a critical spotlight on the issue of human trafficking, a serious concern even within Namibia. This Global Awareness Day emphasizes the need for concerted action in combat to human trafficking and to protect vulnerable individuals. In Namibia, human trafficking has been identified as a growing issue, with increasing reports of both domestic and cross-border trafficking offences. Joining us on the line for more insight on this is Chief Public Relations Officer at the Ministry of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare, Mr. Lukas Haifiku. Lukas, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. Thanks so much for having me.
Lukas, to start with, talk to us about what the main contributing factors are when it comes to human trafficking in Namibia, and actually how prevalent is it in our country?
Thank you. Sorry, I'm just a bit under the weather, but nonetheless, well, the main contributing factors to human trafficking in our country can be attributed or is attributed to poverty, unemployment, and in instances, low levels of education and family instability. So when you find those, any of those components thrive in a certain area, traffickers can exploit those avenues to just try and exploit people and perhaps traffic them. But even in answering that question, it is important to note that there is certain elements that must be in place for something or for such an act of somebody moving perhaps a person from one place to one, for it to be labeled or qualify as trafficking. Saying that is that there must be elements of, for instance, intention to recruit, to transport or transfer that place from one place to another, or harboring a person who is likely to traffic other people by means of threat or use of force. And it's normally done by no payment for reward for the work that the person is doing. So there must be those elements.
Of those contributing factors that you've just mentioned, which areas or regions are most affected by human trafficking?
Most areas that are affected in Namibia is if you look at one or two or a few cases that we had in Namibia, is normally areas that are close to the borders, like Chicago and Zambezi region, because people can easily can be moved from one place to another. But even with that, it is very important to note that for instance, in Zambezi, we have Namibian families that are across the borders. In Chicago, we have that division of families that are living. Some are living the one side of southern Angola, and then the families in northern Namibia. So without those elements, it kind of become a bit of hard to say that it is trafficking, because people are moving from one area to the next, and in so doing, it is easy for one to get cheap labor from either one of the two areas, and these people work for them for years at reduced labor, and the person is really not getting what it is worth, fully understanding that Namibia has laws in place that compensate that is a certain threshold for compensation. So, like I'm saying, it's one of those the methods that are quite tricky to prove when it is in play, but not obviously saying that it's not happening in Namibia, but it's really a trade that is well hidden wherever you find it across the world.
Although it may not be as prevalent as it is globally or around the world compared to other countries, what measures has the Namibian government, or can the Namibian government implement to combat, human trafficking?
Namibia, just like any other law, is really at the forefront of getting a grasp of putting measures in place that protects its people. For instance, in this case, we have the National Referral Mechanism, which basically is a document that supports victims and it's also working on improving the law enforcement and judiciary personnel when it relates to trafficking in person. Also, Namibia works with so many international organizations that are helping the nation just in combating this social ill or this crime. It's a crime actually, and then the act we are using was enacted in 2018, and it basically criminalizes trafficking in persons or components that can be proven as falling under trafficking in person.
Are there any collaborations that exist between our country's government and international organizations to combat human trafficking?
Yes, one of the key partners that we have as a nation, we're also involved, was also a key player in us commemorating the World Day in Swakopmund. Today is IOM. It's an international organization that is at the forefront of. It's an international organization for migration that is at the forefront of bringing this evil to the fore internationally, and basically they enhance anti-trafficking efforts. We also have our own people, which is also local for us Namibians, but also they are also a part of the international community when people are trafficked. If we can remember back not too long ago, we had a ship that was caught with certain nationals that they were in Namibia, and they, in that sense, we become an international community because we are the ones who are responsible to repatriate those people and reconnect them with their families as we played the role in taking them back to their respective countries.
Mm-hmm. Just generally speaking, Lukas, who are the most vulnerable groups to human trafficking?
The most vulnerable in this instance are children and women, and as I said earlier, if there is also elements of poverty and unemployment, they become even more so because then it can become an issue where one offers their services, and the person who is in the right or knows and understands that they are wrong, that place on that card so that this person does not know, and then they keep on exploiting this person. Therefore, it's very easy for as employers. Just perhaps as a word of caution that we play by the book, because you might find yourself standing behind the counter or in the court of law where you have done something that have traces of trafficking in person. You doing it unknowingly or doing it knowingly and thinking that you might get away with it.
Mr. Haifiku, we thank you so much for joining us this evening here on the Daily Roundup. Thank you for your time.
Thank you too, ma'am. Bye.
That was Mr. Lukas Haifiku speaking to us about World Day Against Trafficking in Persons that is observed annually on July 30th.